Let's look at the final section, part 4 of chapter 10. Let's look in more detail at this verb voir. Now, I think we've seen voir before. I know we have, and it means to see. And in the present tense, it's je vois, tu vois, il voit, nous voyons, vous voyez, il voit. And so we've got kind of a VOI stem all the way through it. This turns into a Y because we've got a second syllable after it. So not too irregular in the present tense. The past participle is vu, seen. So that's a little different. And the present participle is voyant, which is based on the new form there. So this is saw, and this is I have seen. No, view is seen, and voyant is seen. Now the passé simple de voir is conjugated like an I. Je vis, tu vis, il vit, nous vîmes, vous vîtes, ils virent. So it's the regular endings, but we got to be really careful because the passé simple of voir, to see, so I saw, you saw, he saw, we saw, you saw, they saw, shouldn't be confused with the present tense of vivre, to live. That's je vis, tu vis, il vit, I live, you live, he lives, which are the same forms here. So this could be I saw or I live. You saw or you live. He saw or he lives. Now, nous vivons and vous vivez, il vive, they're different than the forms there. They're not ambiguous, but the singular forms, VVV, can either be the past of voir or the present of vivre. So this is kind of tricky, and you need to be aware of this. Now, there's voir is often followed by an infinitive, but when we translate it, we don't translate the infinitive as like to be or to do. We usually translate it as a participle. Il a vu venir le désastre. He a vu, so that's a passé composé, he saw to come the disaster. Le désastre is the disaster. But we wouldn't say it, we'd say he saw the disaster coming. Il vit se former les alliances politiques. So here we have voir in the passé simple. He saw to form themselves the political alliances. We wouldn't leave it in the infinitive form, we would put it into the present participle form, forming. He saw the political alliances forming. So this is a little tricky because voir plus the infinitive is pretty common, but you need to change it around in English because a verb after saw takes the ing form. So here are some exercises, and notice how they're all voir, and these V verbs are difficult. A very high percentage of the irregular verbs are irregular. You've got voir, you've got vivre. Aller has some V forms like il va, he goes. Vendre, I notice them down here, valoir, venir. There's a lot of irregular V verbs, and you might want to make a list as you go along and then mark them in your dictionary so that when you come across some V verb that you don't recognize, you can go check which the various V verbs right away to find out which one it corresponds to. But work on this exercise, and when you're done, correct them with the final video.